What a game. Jude Bellingham, what a player. Real Madrid, what a club. Okay, so my immediate reaction and response to Real Madrid beating Manchester City 3-2 is that Real Madrid are inevitable. Like, sometimes I know on football Twitter or sports Twitter, people say, like, this person's inevitable or that team is inevitable. Like, Real Madrid literally are. And I think today was proof of that. Now, granted, you've got a Manchester City team that is going through a very difficult time at the moment. I think quite clearly Pep Guardiola's personal issues and the divorce are impacting him and consequently impacting City's performance on the pitch. But it's felt of recent like City were turning a corner and maybe getting back to their old ways. And tonight, it's the Champions League, it's the knockout round, it's the business end of the season. Erling Haaland is playing against Real Madrid, having played against them 4 times before in his career and never scoring. And there's all that criticism leveled at Erling Haaland that he's not involved in the game and except for his finishing, he's effectively a League One player. And if you're Manchester City, you're thinking we need Haaland to turn up to have a chance in this game. And you know what? He did. He turns up and the first chance that Erling Haaland gets, he scores. And at that point, it's strange because Manchester City have got most of the possession. They look like the more accomplished team. They are in control of the game. But at any point that Real Madrid breaks forward and Vinicius, Mbappe or Bellingham have got ground in front of them, it's like panic stations and they just look so dangerous. And so for me, I'm thinking, wow, if City aren't careful, they could go in half-time 2-0 down here. But no, Haaland scores, they go 1-0 up. Then Mbappe equalises in the second half and it is the flukiest goal that I've ever seen. But you know what? Big up Mbappe. Hasn't been an easy transition, hasn't been all child's play since making the move to La Liga, but he's persevered and he's kept on going on, and tonight he managed to get a goal. In the annals of time, people won't care about how it went in. The fact that he scored will be enough. And so at that point, it's 1-1. And to be honest, a draw was a deserving scoreline. But then up steps Phil Foden, the man who definitely has flattered to deceive this year and hasn't been at the form that he was in last year. If I just put it plainly, Phil Foden's been kind of poop. But he had a pivotal moment here where he's brought down by Dani Ceballos, obviously, for the penalty with some great footwork. And it's a bit frustrating because you're looking at that and you're like, you know Phil Foden is capable of these moments of magic, but where are they? And for Dani Ceballos, who gave away the penalty, there was a really horrible moment where afterwards you see him substituted for Modric and he's on the bench and he just puts his jacket over his head because obviously he wants to hide and wants the ground to follow him up because Haaland, cold as ice, dispatches a penalty into the bottom corner and it looks like 2-1 to City, 10 minutes to go, they're playing at home, that's probably game over, right? Well, Don Carlo has got other ideas. He brings on Brahim Diaz, the same Brahim Diaz that was in the Manchester City Academy, came through at that club and was deemed surplus to requirements and then sold to Real Madrid. And Brahim Diaz, within about 6 minutes, equalises for Real Madrid. So we're at about 86 minutes in the game and it's 2-2. And again, you're thinking, okay, a draw's all right. And even the commentators are saying, you know, if they go back to the Bernabeu for the second leg with it being a 2-2 draw, it's probably advantage Real Madrid anyway and they'd be happy with that. And for Manchester City, if you draw 2-2, you still back yourself. You're thinking maybe we get a moment of magic. We can nick a 1-0 away at the Bernabeu. But then, the ball is breaking down the right-hand side for Manchester City and Kovacic has tried to play it back to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis has tried to deal with a bouncing ball, but Vinicius Jr has nicked it away from him and ran through on goal. Ederson comes rushing out. Vinicius probably should finish it himself. He's tried to go over the keeper, but it's going wide. But then what do we see in the far right frame? We see the inevitable, in my eyes, the man who probably had he had a very strong case of winning the Ballon d'Or, right? In a foot race against John Stones, it's Jude Bellingham. And Bellingham is winning this foot race. He gets there first and he gets a tap in at the back post to pull it 3-2 to Real Madrid in extra time, and it's basically game over. The celebration, him and Fran Garcia, the march down the touchline, I loved it. The arrogance was just absolutely oozing out of him, and that is Bellingham, and he rubs some people the wrong way for it, but guess what? He knows. Like when he scored the winner for England in the Euros, and he ran away saying, who else? Like, whether it's El Clasico's last year, last minute winners, who else? It's always Jude Bellingham. The man is super, super clutch. And really, Manchester City can definitely feel hard done by because they were not the lesser of the two sides tonight. But there is something about Real Madrid that is just completely inevitable. The swagger, the arrogance, the belief. They just seem to always think in their minds, especially in the Champions League. It doesn't matter how the game's going, what the possession is, what the expected goals are, we are going to find a way to win. And Jude Bellingham personifies that. Honestly, him at Real Madrid is the most perfect match ever. Like, he is. Bellingham is a Galactico. Not just in play, not just in achievements, but in self-belief and stature, the way he carries himself. And again, I know it annoys people, but nights like tonight will just reinforce it. So when he's being super arrogant next time he's in the England shirt and saying who else, it's because of moments like tonight. When the chips are down, when his back's against the wall, Bellingham will keep running, Bellingham will keep believing, and Bellingham will probably do something decisive to get you a win. Now, for Manchester City, they're not going to win the Premier League. There's obviously a domestic cup that they could pick up, but the Champions League is the one that they want to go far in again, although they've won it already now. But going to the Bernabeu and beating this Real Madrid team, I just can't see it happening. Real Madrid had a makeshift defence already with Asensio and Tchouaméni playing at centre-half. And if you can't deal with that, Valverde at fullback, I think in the Bernabeu, Real Madrid are going to win and City are going to go home. And it's tough. And I really do feel it for Pep Guardiola in this moment in time. They spent a lot of money in January to try and set the ship on the right course again. And it's just not quite happening at the highest of levels. And unfortunately, they ran into a Real Madrid team that just don't know how to lose in the Champions League. And again, with this type of spirit, this type of squad depth, and Don Carlo at the helm, Real Madrid might just win the Champions League again. Let me know what you guys think. It was a brilliant game from my perspective. Absolutely loved every single second of it. And yeah, listen, I might have to get a Jude Bellingham shirt to stick on the wall. I've actually already bought a Jude Bellingham shirt just as a fan anyway, because he's that guy. But wow, the big moments, the man never fails. Peace.